So let's move on to another. We talked extensively about the assistant coaches. Let's move on to another in our mini series of how to fix the Bengals in 2018. We've talked about figuring out what to do at quarterback and supporting that quarterback, whether it's Andy Dalton or a rookie. We talked about, doing stuff with the head coaching staff. That was a few weeks ago. There's been some news on that. So now I want to talk about finding an identity, Scott. And now that the Bengals have rehired Marvin Lewis, there might be some sense of an identity. But I don't know, even in this 2011 through 2015, this little mini dynasty the Bengals have built, I don't know that I said, hey, they were awesome at passing the football. Hey, they were awesome at running the football. Yes, they had good defense, but I didn't have a grasp on exactly what the Bengals do best. And it might be old school in me to say, let's try and find something, whether it's, ground and pound or whatever. Like, I guess it's old school in me, but I think that if a team and a head coach has a vision and says, we want to basically run the ball down your throat, and we want to hit you hard on defense, we want to be bombs away on offense, or we just kind of want to be pretty good at everything. I'd like to see them have a vision going forward. It's really weird to me because think about offense. First round pick, AJ Green. First round pick, 2 top 10 picks, John Ross. A former second round pick, Brandon LaFell. Former second round pick, Tyler Boyd. Cody Core, a guy they like a lot. Josh Malone, a guy they like a lot. There's a lot of talent at wide receiver. Second round pick, Jeremy Hill. May not be with the team next year, but second round pick nonetheless. Second round pick, Giovanni Bernard. Second round pick, Joe Mixon. Second round pick at quarterback, Andy Dalton. There's a lot of capital invested on offense. Then you look at the defense, they've got some stars in various places, especially in the secondary and at corner, as we mentioned. I'd like to see them say, hey, let's run the hell out of the football and play amazing defense, or let's be opportunistic on defense and do what we did in 2005 and really wing the ball around the field. I want them to do things well. And I feel like there hasn't been, at least in the last 2 years, there hasn't been a lot that they've done well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess if I was picking something where based on their roster offensively, I'd like to see them do. And because when I'm looking at the roster, I guess the thing I'm seeing is, okay, obviously it depends, it changes based on free agency, assuming they do that this year. I think I've heard of it. I don't, never seen the Bengals do it, but I've heard there's something called free agency. So if the Bengals get involved in that, and depending on who they draft, as it stands now, they don't really have great blocking. Obviously the offensive line's been an issue. Oboye and Fisher, so forth. And, Bodine is. Anyway, you don't have a ton of great blocking. You have a quarterback who is pretty accurate. He can be good when he has good weapons around him, when he's not throwing the ball deep. You have pretty good receivers, like you mentioned, AJ Green, these young guys that hopefully develop. You don't have a big power back because I'm assuming Hill's gone, but you have, guys in Bernard and Mixon who are very good in space, very good receivers, very good pass blocking. So to me, that combination kind of all thrown together seems like a West Coast offense. That's some variant of that. A lot of quick passes, a lot of quick hits. Everyone on that team can catch the ball. Especially if Eifert comes back, you have a tight end who's a great receiver. You have good receivers. You have good running backs or receivers. You can get it out quickly, which is something I know they were kind of dabbling with that a little bit early this year where, hey, we're going to do the quicker passes because Dalton doesn't have protection. If they can shore up that protection any bit where even the quick passes aren't being pressured. So you can have, but you can still get it out and not do the deep plays because the deep plays are kind of, you don't have a Carson Palmer there who has this beautiful deep pass. You have Andy Dalton who, makes AJ Green, constantly adjust because it's overthrown or it's 10 feet behind him or it's off in the, I don't know where the cheerleaders are or something. So just kind of looking at the rosters that stand today, I would like to see them incorporate some form more of we aren't going to do let's put Hill out there first down, we're going to do 2 tight ends. We're going to run for 2 yards. And then second down, we're going to chuck it deep to AJ Green and miss him. Third down, we'll put in Giovanni Bernard, run our draw play for 5 yards, and then we'll punt. I'd like to say, let's just keep the same personnel out there. They can all catch the ball. Let's do something where we are heavily involved in, short intermediate, just, chunk and, nickel and dime your way down the field based on their roster as it stands today.
Yeah, I'd like to see them have a semblance of a plan of what, and of course, this goes into adjustments. This goes into the whole argument of that. But I would just, like you said, you talked about a West Coast offensive attack. I don't need Marvin Lewis to come out and say, we're going to be a West Coast offense type of team. But I would like them to have some sort of semblance of a plan that, it's inexcusable that this team, and you can blame Bill Lazor if you want, you can blame Marvin Lewis if you want, you can blame Ken Zampese if you want, but with John Ross, with AJ Green, with Tyler Boyd, with Brandon LaFell, with Tyler Eifert, with those guys mostly available, as well as Joe Mixon, Giovanni Bernard, Jeremy Hill, yes, the offensive line was a shambles, but it's inexcusable that was the number 32 overall offense in terms of yards netted per game. I think that there needs to be more of a plan with this Bengals team and this Bengals offense. And that's not just on offense, it's not just on offense, it's on defense as well. I think, and there's some questions about the draft we'll get to in our listener question segment next, but I think that the team just kind of needs to have a clear vision. Maybe that's what Marvin Lewis stressed in his recent contract negotiation. I don't know, but I think there needs to be a clear vision. I like, the thing I like about the Bob Bicknell hire is the fact that he is familiar with Bill Lazor. So when you have guys that are working under or working with other coaches, at least there's a clear vision from this guy to this guy to this guy to the players. And, I can't say the same with John Kitna for the QB coach, that sort of thing. But if that trickles down, at least everybody is on the same page and knows what they're doing and knows what is expected of them, knows what the scheme is supposed to be, then I think you're going to see more effectiveness. Yes, more personnel needs to be added. Yes, the offensive line needs help and all of that. But, I think that's going to be what's key for the Bengals going forward in 2018. What do you think about the Bengals' identity? What should they be? Should they be a Steelers type of team, a ground and pound? Should they be a bombs away type of team? Or should they be balanced based on all of the talent they have both in the backfield and on the outside wide receiver positions? We'd love to hear from you. You can get this show on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on YouTube. We are also on CincyJungle.com. And you can get in touch with us via Twitter at BengalsOBI or the OBinsider@gmail.com. Unfortunately, my co-host Scott Schultze had to leave. It is a little late on the West Coast, but there's still a lot of live viewers, and I am stoked that you are all here. Appreciate it.